I just got back from the Apple Store and picked up a brand new iPad Air 5. And I want to know, does a new processor, a new front camera, and the potential for 5G make this a worthy upgrade over the iPad Air Gen 4? Sponsored by ESR. Hey, I'm Jerry. And yes, today is the launch day for the brand new iPad Air 5 that Apple announced on the March 8th peak performance event. In that event, they talked about the brand new iPhone SE, the new iPad Air 5, the new Mac Studio, and the new Mac Studio display. And of course, we will no doubt get to the Mac Studio and Studio display in another video. But this is the iPad Air 5. So I want to unbox this guy, take a look at what's inside, and compare it against the iPad Gen 4 and see if it makes any sense to upgrade if you have the Generation 4 iPad Air. So let's just get started unboxing this brand new iPad Air 5. And as you see, I went ahead and got the blue color. So let's go ahead and see what this guy looks like. I'm curious to see what the color looks like compared to the pale, kind of gross colors of the iPads from last year. And we are in. All right, right on top, we have the iPad Air. We'll look at that in just a moment. You know what? Let's do it now. Why wait? I want to see this color. So look at, oh my gosh. So this color is nice and blue. It's like a baby blue or a sky blue. I don't know, but it actually has some saturation to it compared to the iPads from last year. Last year, I had to do a little bit of trickery on my video to make the green stand out a little bit on video because you can see it in person. It actually has a bit of color, it's just pale, but on video, it really came out almost non-existent with the color. So I had to do a couple things in Final Cut Pro to get that green to stand out. I don't think I'm gonna have to do that with this blue iPad Air. I mean, honestly, just look at that. Look how pretty that guy is. Last year, the colors on the iPads Air were basically a really light pastel, almost like, Easter eggs. And these ones look like if you were making Easter eggs, you definitely left it in the coloring a bit longer. Inside the box, we also get the obligatory Apple stickers, which I have not ever once used on anything anywhere. So all of the boxes that I have for all of my devices still have all of the Apple stickers intact in the boxes. I don't know what to do with them. There's also the quick start guide, which we don't need. You get a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, and you actually get this Apple 20-watt charging adapter inside the box with the iPad Air. All right, so the iPad Air 5 looks very, very familiar to the iPad Air 4 from last year. On the back side of the iPad Air, you have a single camera and a microphone. You have the smart connector on the bottom for connecting keyboard accessories. On the right side, you have this magnetic strip right here for the Apple Pencil 2, which of course was a fantastic upgrade for the iPad Air 4, which allowed the second generation Apple Pencil 2, which charges and connects magnetically to the side of the iPad, rather than the first generation Apple Pencil, which connected to the bottom lightning port. Above the space for the Apple Pencil, you have the volume controls. On the top, you have the power button, power sleep wake button that's also got the Touch ID sensor built in, like last year's. You have ports for the speakers, and on the bottom, you have the USB-C port. So these two iPads look extremely similar from the outside, and on the inside there are a couple of changes which we'll get to in just a moment. But form factor wise, they are almost completely identical, which is good news for any accessories that you may have bought for a previous generation iPad Air. And that's where our sponsor ESR comes in. ESR makes a ton of accessories for your mobile and tablet devices, including this Ascend keyboard case for iPad Air Generation 5, Generation 4, and the 11-inch iPad Pro. The Ascend keyboard case is kind of a hybrid of other keyboard cases you may have seen for iPad before, but this one offers a couple things that others don't, including protection for your iPad when your iPad isn't even connected to the keyboard. To use this case, all you need to do is pull back the kickstand, and then you can set it to whatever angle you want it to sit at. It doesn't matter how tall you are, how short you are, what your desk height is, you can set it to any angle that works for you. Once connected with Bluetooth, the keyboard and trackpad work exactly like you expect with iPadOS, including 2-finger scrolling for up and down or left and right. A 3-finger swipe will go back to your home screen. You can do a 3-finger swipe to go down between recent apps. It all works really, really well. And unlike some external keyboards, you actually do get a full function row for your iPad. ESR cases are more than just cases. They're designed for protection, but also for work, play, watching, drawing, whatever you want it to do. So if you want to walk away from working on your iPad and disconnect from the keyboard, you can do that and still know that you're protected with this ESR case from drops and scratches. And because ESR wants you to work the way you want to work, you can actually attach the iPad to the case in portrait mode. So now if you want a tall screen for writing scripts or documents, you can do that as well. And if a keyboard case is not for you, then there's also the Rebound Hybrid case, which offers a full protective case along with a folio cover that acts as more protection and of course a stand. Both of these cases are available today along with many others, and you can save 10% by searching ESR iPad Air case on Amazon. Now we can move beyond the physical similarities of the iPad Air 5 and 4 and look on the inside. On the inside of the new iPad Air 5, you actually have an M1 chip. And yes, that's the same chip that's in the Mac Mini and the MacBook Air and the 24-inch iMac and yes, the iPad Pro, making the performance of the iPad Air 5 almost the exact same as the iPad Pro, which I'm sure I'll get to in another video. But that's crazy that they're throwing their biggest, baddest chip for iPads and even some Mac desktops into the iPad Air. The iPad Air 4 comes with an Apple A14 chip, which shipped with the iPhone 12 line of phones. It's got a 6-core processor, a 4-core GPU, and 4 gigabytes of memory. The iPad Air 5 has the M1 chip with 8 cores, 8 GPU cores, and 8 gigabytes of memory. And as you can see here, there's a bit of a speed difference between these two iPads. The performance of the M1 chip in the iPad Air 5 is very similar to the performance of the M1 chip in the iPad Pro, making that actually a pretty significant speed bump over the iPad Air 4. However, the iPad Air 4 is not slow in any way. They will run the same apps almost the exact same way, and you should not see much of a difference performance-wise between these two. They're already super fast. If you end up going with the cellular version of the iPad Air 5, you will actually get 5G connectivity, whereas with the iPad Air 4, you only got 4G or LTE. Now, of course, depending on where you live and how often you use cellular when you're out and about, that may make a difference and may warrant an upgrade from the iPad 4 to the iPad Air 5. For me, I've not really found any benefit to 5G in the city where I live or places that I've traveled. In fact, on my iPhone 13 Pro, I actually have 5G turned off for the battery life savings. I just don't see enough of a benefit for me and my use, but wherever you live and whatever your use case may be, it may be worth jumping from the 4 to the 5 for that 5G. Storage-wise, both of these iPads start at 64 gigabytes, but can be bumped up to 256 gigabytes if needed. The USB-C port on the bottom of the iPad Air 5 is actually twice as fast as the USB-C port on the iPad Air. So now you can get up to 10 gigabits per second for connecting super fast SSDs or even for connecting to a dock and creating a desktop setup with your iPad. Both of these iPads have the same 10.9-inch liquid retina display that gets up to 500 nits of brightness, which is absolutely perfect for using indoors and in most outdoor or brightly lit situations. The bezels on the iPad Air are just slightly bigger than the bezels on the iPad Pro, but not big enough to make a difference. This display is just gorgeous, it really is. It's got P3 wide color, it's fully laminated so it looks like you're touching pixels. It really is just one of the best displays you can get on any device, period, and you get it on Apple's mid-range tablet. The rear camera is the same 12 megapixel f1.8 lens as the 4th generation iPad Air, but the front camera has been updated to the 12 megapixel ultra wide camera f2.4 lens that now allows for center stage on the iPad Air 4, just like what we got with the iPad Mini last year. This feature, of course, allows you to have video calls, but if you move around, the camera will try and keep you centered in the frame. And if other people come around, the camera will widen its view so that the others will be included in the video. This is a fantastic feature for family video calls, and I wish we had it earlier back in early 2020. But now that it's come to almost all of their devices, it is fantastic and I like it. I haven't used it a whole lot recently, but it is good to have when you need it. And I think that is really the primary differences between the iPad Air 4 and the brand new iPad Air 5. On the outside, they are extremely similar, which means that they can actually use all of the same accessories if you do upgrade from the 4 to the 5. On the inside is where things get a little bit interesting, including that brand new M1 chip, which is super fast and really has no business being in the iPad Air, especially when, unfortunately iPad OS still can't fully take advantage of that CPU. But if you need that extra power and you need 5G and you want that ultra wide center stage camera, then this might be a pretty good upgrade from the 4 to the 5. But for most people, I really just don't see enough difference between the 4 and the 5 to warrant an upgrade. If you have the 4, you have essentially the same device and it's fantastic and you should probably hang on to it. But if you're an idiot like me, the color alone might make you want to upgrade. So what do you guys think? What do you think of the brand new iPad Air 5? Is it enough of an upgrade from the iPad Air 4? Let me know below. If you're interested in more videos on the iPad Air 5 or on the other new Apple devices like the Mac Studio and the Studio Display, definitely hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, and I'll see you next time.